Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our channel. Today we will deal with lateral and gliding consonants in details. So without further ado, let's begin. Lateral consonant. Lateral consonant is the consonant L, in which the tongue tip blocks the center of the mouth and the air goes over the sides of the tongue. Is it ambiguous? Don't worry, we are going to explain it in details. So let's go. L. This sound is produced when the tip or the blade of the tongue makes contact with the alveolar ridge, or one of them is close to the alveolar ridge. Hence it's called alveolar. The soft palate is raised so that all the air is forced to go through the mouth. The tip of the tongue and the size of the blade, which cannot be seen in the diagram, are in firm contact with the alveolar ridge, obstructing the center of the mouth. The sides of the remainder of the tongue are not in contact with the size of the palate, so air can pass between the size of the tongue and the palate. Round the central obstruction formed by the tip and the blade of the tongue, so out of the mouth. This sound is voiced and there is no friction except when it's immediately after p and k. Now pay attention to the figure and notice how this sound is articulated. Let's practice some examples. L initially, learn. L medially, believe. L finally, cold. Another term you should know about it is lateral explosion. Lateral explosion is the release of T or D when followed by L, by lowering only the size of the tongue, causing the compressed air to burst out over the sides. Types of L. We have three types of L, which are clear L, dark L, and voiceless L. Clear L is produced when it occurs at the beginning before vowel, as in light. Dark L is produced when it occurs at the end before consonant, as in help. L after P and K becomes voiceless, as in place and close. Syllables and syllabic consonants. Syllable is a unit consisting of one vowel or syllabic consonant, which may be preceded and or followed by a consonant or consonants. But what a syllabic consonant actually is? Normally a syllable contains a vowel. Sometimes N or L replace the vowel. They are then syllabics. For example, written and middle. Gliding consonants. They are those sounds which are produced when the tongue and the palate come close to each other, but not to the extent causing audible friction or producing vowel-like sound, and that's why some phoneticians call them approximants. The most important thing to remember about these phonemes is that they are phonetically like vowels but phonologically like consonants. Glidings are y, w, and r. Y and w. There is only one palatal consonant, which is y. It's produced when the tongue approaches the hard palate, although the tongue comes very close to the hard palate but it does not touch it. This means that palatal y is produced between the tongue and the hard palate. That's why it's called palatal, while w is produced between the two lips, hence it's called bilabial. From the phonetic point of view, the articulation of y is practically the same as that of the vowel sound y, but is very short. In the same way, w is closely similar to the vowel sound w, but despite this vowel-like character, we use them like consonants. To describe y and w, we will say y is voiced palatal, gliding, or approximant. W is voiced bilabial, gliding, or approximant. Now pay attention to the figure and notice how these sounds are articulated.
Y, w.
Let's practice some examples. Neither y nor w occur at the end of English words, but here are other examples. Y initially, yard. W initially, white. Y medially, view. W medially, sweet. Another important thing you should be aware of is that y after p, t, and k becomes voiceless, as in computer, Tuesday, and Q. R. This sound is produced when the tongue touches the area just behind the alveolar ridge. That's why it's called post-alveolar. To produce R sound, the soft palate is raised and voiced air flows quietly between the tongue tip and the palate. The tongue has a curved shape with the tip pointing toward the hard palate at the back of the alveolar ridge. The front of the tongue is low and the back of the tongue is rather high, as shown in the figure. The tongue tip is not close enough to the palate to cause friction. The lips are rather rounded, especially when r is at the beginning of words. To describe r, we will say r is voiced post-alveolar gliding. Now pay attention to the figure and notice how this sound is articulated. Let's practice some examples. R does not occur at the end of English words, but here are other examples. R initially, read. R medially, correct. Types of r. We have also three types of r, which are linking r, intrusive r, and voiceless r. Linking r. It's the letter r which is found at the end of the word, but it's not pronounced. But when it's followed by a vowel in other word, it's pronounced. For example, a car. R is not pronounced, but when we say a car out, it's pronounced. Intrusive r is the letter r which is not found in the spelling of the word, but it is inserted when we have two words. The first ends with a vowel and the second begins with a vowel. For example, Linda Ronan. Notice how we add r sound at the end of the word Linda, because it ends with a vowel and the other word which follows begins with a vowel. Listen again. Linda Ronan. Voiceless r. R after P and K becomes voiceless, as in pray, try, and script. We have reached the end of the video. I am glad to say we have finished chapter 3. Now pause the video and try to describe the following consonants. Thanks for watching and hope you learned something useful. See you in the next video. Goodbye.